name is Jenie Gao, and I'm a full-time artist and entrepreneur. I run an anti-gentrification arts business that prioritizes fair pay for labor and intellect and community well-being, and I also consult for organizations in removing systemic barriers from the arts. My background started pretty early in the arts. I was one of those kids who loved the arts early on, but I grew up in a family of working-class immigrants, and it just wasn't seen as a career path for me. But also early on, I recognized the importance of the arts in people's representation and authority in society. And so ultimately I ended up studying the arts when I went to college and building my art career with the belief that those of us who get to engage in the arts get to be the storytellers for society. So my mom and her family immigrated from Taiwan, and my dad immigrated from northern China. Their relationship and how that shaped our family dynamics created a lot of the foundation for how I understood the world and looked at our belief systems and our values in a critical way. There's a lot of political division and tension between Taiwan and China, and that divisiveness and that tension was very much alive within our household. Very early on, I had to ask myself what it was that shaped people's beliefs and made them hold on to those beliefs so strongly if people's ideas of the world could be so different. We all live in significantly more diverse communities than what's often portrayed in the media, and segregation is the main thing that keeps us from seeing that. The divisions that we see in society, it's not divisions that are separated by thousands of miles so much as next-door neighbors who watch the same news story and come to different conclusions. And so all of this created the basis of how I approach thought and perspective shaping in the world, and that if we can recognize that the most painful divisions are those that are often the closest to us, that might actually be the grounds for reconciliation. So I took up mural arts initially because it has the same basis as the type of work that I was already making as a printmaker, and the history of print is essentially tied with democratization of information. The history of print allowed us to print books, to spread mass messages, to put up flyers letting people know what was going on with government officials, what's happening with policies that are affecting everyday people's lives, with institutions of power. And so for me, coming into the arts as a printmaker, I already had that foundation of democratization of information and the potential of art as a form of social media. So the mural is entitled The Year of the Metal Ox, and 2021 is the year of the metal ox in the Chinese zodiac. And the illustration is actually from a series that I'm doing right now called the APA Zodiac, or the Asian Pacific Islander Zodiac. And I've been taking the 12 animals from the zodiac and hybridizing them with elements of the Americas. And so there are 5 elements, 12 animals, total possibility of 60 combinations. And so for the year of the metal ox, and why I felt it was important to recognize it, in the original story of the zodiac, there was a great race that determined the order of the animals, and the ox was actually winning the race. But when she arrived at the river, the rat couldn't cross the river and asked her for a ride, and she obliged. And so she took the rat across the river, and at the finish line, he jumped off her back and he stole the first place win. And so in the zodiac chart, the rat is actually listed as the first animal. And so there is some superstition that years of the rat can be a little bit tumultuous as a result. And 2020 was a year of the rat. And you think of like last year, it's almost comical now how in January 2020, there was so much promotion or like so many puns around 2020, Eurovision, a new decade, right? And then all of this excitement like built up for a new start. And it was like the great pause for so many people. And so the question I'm positing with the Year of the Ox mural is, well, what if like it's actually the ox? What if the ox is the leader in the reemergence and the reopening? The word metal, M-E-T-A-L, actually has the same origin as the word metal, M-E-T-T-L-E. And so the word metal, M-E-T-T-L-E, literally means the stuff of which we're made, especially that which is formed through hardship and challenge. And so that's another question that I'm positing here for the community. What are some of the stories of resilience that we have? What are some of the challenges we've overcome to prove our metal? The rest of my APA Zodiac series is viewable on my website, and I have a limited edition of prints that people can buy there as well. So far, I've got about 14 animals done. My goal is to get all 60 of the animals combined with the 5 elements done. So yeah, I'm at 14 of 60 so far. One thing I continually come back to is that art is a way to create records of who we are, and also to set visions for the future. I talk a lot about our past selves, our present selves, and our future selves. And what I like to say is, like, our past selves are literally the only versions of ourselves that have ever done any work. They're the only ones that have ever done anything. And they might not have had all the tools, they might not have had all the know-how, but they literally did everything. And future us just gets to reap the benefits. They haven't done anything yet. The best thing that we can do in the present is try and be the version of ourselves that future us can depend on. And so I try to build that into my artwork as well, where I see this thread moving from my past works into the future, and that artwork itself, like, artwork is the creation of a record. It is a cultural expression. This is how we pass our history down. This is how we pass information down. And it's also how we set visions for what we want to be in the future and how we want it to be different. The arts are the basis for us actually having this representation. So I want to encourage more people to see the arts not just as an important career, but one that is worthy of respect and could quite literally reinvent who we actually get to see making the decisions in the society that we live in.